All right, waiting for it to pop up to show live. Shows
It is
live on
live.
our end.
It has like a 6 second delay on your end because it does the same thing when I go live. So it's like,
Okay, it's showing up on YouTube here. So that means we're all set, ready to go. Let's give it a minute for more people to jump in. So I got 2 watching now. We'll see how many people show up. Again, it all depends because like I had a stream that had like what was it like 60 people on, but this is just ranking the Batman movie, so it all depends. But you get your stuff ready, okay? Hey Steven, how you doing? All right, we got 3 watching right now. We'll go ahead and get this started in a second. And yep. All right, cool.
so I
What's
have 9. So should I let you go like your couple first and we can go back and forth?
Yeah, we'll do something like that.
All right.
I guess I'll get my first 2 out of the way, just giving it another minute so everybody can join in. But welcome in everybody who's watching live. There's like 3 people watching live. We'll see if more people jump in and join. Again, it all depends. Like the last one I did had like 60 people watching it, so that was pretty crazy. But we got 4 people watching now. Okay, cool. How's it going? Arrow 77. Do we just have to talk about this? You know, you guys can talk about whatever in the chat. We're just going to go ahead and rank the live action Batman movies and answer some questions in the chat. Have a good time. Hopefully, add some entertainment value and some fun little discussions. But okay, we got 7 people watching now, and I think we'll get started from here. What's going on, YouTube? JT's Reborn here, and welcome to another live stream. I'm joined by my friend Ryan from Kaiju Network. He's been on my channel before, but now that I got a lot more people jumping in, I'm trying to help his channel out too. He's done some like what is it like one DC related video on your channel?
Yep. Flash review.
Flash review, but he's mostly like the kaiju stuff. But today we're going to be talking about the live action Batman movies. And then, you know, obviously later on I'll do some more live streams about other DC AMU stuff since that's what most people generally want to hear me talk about. But because I'm a big Batman fan and he's a big Batman fan, I mean, it's Batman. How can you not love Batman? We're going to be talking and ranking the live action films that feature Batman. Now, this is going to be from the 60s movie all the way up to 2017's Justice League, the theatrical edition, which we're still waiting to see if they're going to do anything else with that movie. I know people are talking about it like every single day, but yeah. So, anyways, I'll go ahead and start out my list. I for my list, I have 11 films that I classify kind of as Batman. There's 2 of them that are kind of like crossover movies, so I kind of have them like kind of rolled into like this list. There's one where Batman makes a cameo on it, but yeah, I'll go ahead and get started. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get this thing set up. So I got 11. You have how many on your list? Because you haven't seen every single one, if I'm not
I have
mistaken.
9 because I haven't seen 89 and what's the second one after that?
Batman Returns.
Yeah, I haven't seen those 2.
Okay, yeah, those are pretty high on my list. But yeah, I guess when I talk, we'll just kind of go back and forth a bit. So for me, my number 11 film in terms of like this Batman movie ranking list, I put Suicide Squad. Now the reason I didn't know if I should include Suicide Squad on this list. And let me put this banner up really quick. Let's create it. Number 11. Okay, so there we go. So it's popping up right there. So for my number 11 on the list, I put Suicide Squad because Batman more so just makes a cameo in this thing. But I feel kind of like I'm leaving this thing out if I didn't at least kind of reference it or mention it. But overall, but like even then, if you know Batman had a more significant role, I'd still probably put this one at the bottom because in terms of the DC extended universe, I definitely would probably rank Suicide Squad at the very bottom of the list. It's one of those movies that has one of the greatest trailers of all time. But in terms of the quality of the film, like I like the first 20 minutes and I like the Batman scenes in the movie. I kind of wish he had more of a larger part to play. But once they kind of get on the mission, it just kind of becomes like a thing where I'm like, yeah, I don't really enjoy watching this thing too much. It really just doesn't do it for me. Harley Quinn's great. Will Smith's pretty great. But yeah, this is just one of those things where I'm just like, I'm kind of iffy on Suicide Squad. So yeah, so that's my number 11. Let me go ahead and get to my number 10, and then we can just go back and forth in terms of rankings it. So again, going back to the DC extended universe, my number 10 film in the ranking list, I'm going to go with Justice League. Now, Justice League is one of those movies where I enjoyed it when I first saw it. I definitely like had a fun time at the theater. It was the first press screening that I ever went to. I met a lot of cool people there, and we got to see the movie before it opened. Again, this is before the whole Snyder Cut situation came out, and again, like it was kind of like that initial like excitement when you first go to see a movie, and you have the whole crowd there, everybody's going crazy, you get to see everything first. It's kind of one of those things like you're treated like special. You know how some people act differently at like test screenings per se versus like when a movie comes out, because you're seeing something first, so there's something special about it. And when you're with a crowd versus when you actually sit down and watch it at home. But Justice League as a movie is kind of a Frankenstein movie. It's obviously the studio meddled with this thing like crazy. Like I said, I didn't really. Superman's mustache is really, really noticeably bad. Some really bad CGI. Steppenwolf is a really terrible villain. Again, I know this is a movie that underwent heavy reshoots, which is a crazy amount. I bet Man of Steel is 2 or 3. Actually, Damian Thomas, Nightwing. This is just the live-action Batman movie, so Man of Steel would not be on this list. But if I did a DCEU ranking video, Man of Steel would be pretty high up there for me because I generally enjoy that movie quite a bit. But yeah, so like I got Justice League at number 10 because I mean it's a disappointment for me because, like I said, I enjoyed it when I first watched it, but watching it now, it's just like we could have had something so much significantly better. DC does stellar job in animation, and it's just a shame that the first live action Justice League movie is just kind of okay. It's nothing great. It's nothing truly like it's not like the worst thing of all time. But yeah, I'm with you on that one, Jaden Jones. Like where it's like you kind of like it, but you kind of get bored of it. Like it's one of those movies where I really don't feel the need to really ever go back and rewatch it again. It doesn't really have good rewatchability. Like I said, I like the cast. But the villain, the CGI, it's just a Frankenstein of a movie. And it's clear, like, I know Zack Snyder had his own vision, and who knows if we'll ever see his cut of the Justice League movie.
Did a whole episode on that.
Yeah, we did a whole episode.
Yep.
Yeah, and yes, my biggest issue of Justice League is Batman in general in the movie. I think Batman is just, like, compared to where he was in BVS to, like, in Justice League, the only Batman reshoot scene I like is the scene where he's talking with Alfred. Are you going to talk about the DC AMU? I'm sure I'll make some mentions to the DC AMU, but kind of like since we're talking about Justice League now, the animation front, DC does a lot better than their live action fronts, at least in terms of crossover films. It's a shame, like, because with the Justice League movie, we had so much potential. And it just makes me wonder, like, why you can't just get some of the animated people, the people who work on the animation front, to work on the live action movies. You probably do something better because they understand the characters more. They just kind of just make the movies. They know how to tell good storylines. The Justice League cartoon, obviously you're a fan of that show too.
Yep.
It was such a fantastic TV series, and the music and everything just incorporated. This one, it just felt like they probably should have delayed Justice League until they were ready. But it's just one of those things where the internet reaction to BVS was so hostile and divisive. And they were like, Justice League was a month away from shooting. They had family tragedies. Just everything that could go wrong with this movie went wrong at once. Then you had the executives who wanted to keep their bonuses. So instead of just delaying the movie to allow for more time to work on it, they just rushed the thing out there, just trying to make a quick buck. And it's kind of backfired in them ever since. So, I mean, there's elements I like to it. I think Superman, like Henry Cavill gives his best performance outside of the really bad CGI mustache. Like, it's the most Superman-esque he's been, I'd say. Like, in terms of, like, classic Superman. But I feel like that's kind of like where his arc was going in the movies. But it could have been improved on greatly. But as far as we get as a Justice League movie, it's just sadly just average or okay. So, yeah, but you know what? I'm going to let you take the floor and go with your number 9 pick since I kind of rambled on a bit. And I'll answer some of these comments.
So my number 9 pick is Suicide Squad.
Okay.
And actually, in a lot of ways, I feel like a Batman Deadshot movie would have been a lot better.
Yeah, exactly.
Just from the scenes that we saw and Batfleck being good and Will Smith being good as well. That like, little glimpse of Batman in there was, I mean, it was good, but like I wish they had more of it. And not to mention, that film's Joker is not the best. I don't hate it as much as most people do, but it's not amazing. I guess the best Batman part of it is Harley. Yeah, I definitely think he was kind of underutilized. So that's my number 9.
Okay. For my number 9, I'm just going to answer this question. Damian Thomas Nightwing. Do you think Damian would have been good in the DCU? Yes. I think what they should have done, because this is going into my number 9 pick, is Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. That's what I put at number 9 on the list. But like going into this thing, I think since they went with the older Batman route, they really should have established more of the Bat family in this universe. And I think Damian would have been perfect to show up too, because even like in BVS, like Batman is awesome in BVS. Like I really like Ben Affleck in this movie, but it's kind of the rest of the movie around him. I feel like it was just I almost just wish you could cut kind of everything else out and just keep it just a Batman like solo film. I think that stuff was you could tell that just seemed to be the stuff that Snyder leaned in a little bit better. I know it's Suicide movie, but at least he's been in some other scenes. But like going back to like Batman in this movie, like I said, it has the best Batman fight scene in any Batman movie, the warehouse scene alone. I really like the opening scene. Yes, when he mentioned like heir to the Bat family, I thought that would have been a good chance to introduce Damian. So I think when they were showing the Robin suit, obviously, I think the original plan was Zack Snyder wanted that to be Dick Grayson, but then they changed it to Jason Todd. So what I think should have happened in BVS, Tim Drake should have already been Robin. So therefore, you can kind of introduce Damian down the line. You can have Dick Grayson already established as Nightwing. And since Ben Affleck only had like a 3-movie deal, you could have, when Ben Affleck's Batman passes on, you have Dick Grayson take on the mantle and he takes Damian under his wing, so you get that dynamic duo in the movies. I think that would have been a good way. It would have given Affleck a good out. You could have had a new, fresh take on Batman with Dick Grayson taking it up, and Tim Drake would play an important role in that too. So, but like I said, the Batman stuff in this movie is pretty cool. I really like the first 10 minutes of this movie. I think when they did the Wayne shooting sequence with the pearls and everything, I thought it was photographed very well. Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL's music is pretty solid. That's one thing I'll give, like, usually when it comes to Batman solo films, the music is usually quite good, even if the movies may not necessarily be up to the best of standards, we'll say. But the music is usually something that is quite solid. And like I said, I think Ben Affleck was pretty good in the role, and there's some great action. There's some cool Batman sequences. Like, this is a really badass hardcore Batman. And yes, Holy Rusted Metal Batman. Good to see you, Jack. We'll get to that in a little bit. That's what I'm more excited talking about. But Batman vs Superman, I think the Batman stuff I really like. The Superman stuff kind of drags it down, sadly, with Lex Luthor and his whatever Jesse Eisenberg was doing in the role. I think he should have been Riddler instead of Lex Luthor, personally. I think it would have been better fit for the role. But yeah. BVS, I'm keeping it at number 9. Like I said, I don't hate the movie. I'll never love the movie, but I like aspects of it. I'm kind of mixed positive on it, but I think there's a lot of like wasted potential with it, and I think it could have been done a little bit better. So yeah, that's my number 9.
Cool. So my number 8 is Batman and Robin. It's just pretty bad. And I haven't seen it in a long time, but I definitely do remember watching it and being like, what the hell is going on? I mean, like, I think one of the weirder things about that movie was Bane, because they kind of made Bane into like a subhuman, like,
idiot. And Bane's a really intelligent guy.
I mean, such a contrast from like Tom Hardy's like Bane. I thought Poison Ivy was all right. Mr. Freeze is just like laughably terrible. I mean, it's a little enjoyable, which is why I wouldn't put it at the bottom. But like in general, it's like, oh my god, what the hell happened? Oh, and I think total miscast, by the way, George Clooney.
So
yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right. Speaking of number 8, my number 8 is, of course, Joel Schumacher's classic, Batman and Robin. I'm doing good. Andre. Good to see you in the chat. Batman and Robin, everybody knows what this movie is. It's ridiculous. It's incredibly stupid, but I get a great deal of an entertainment value out of this movie. Oh, hey, Tim Drake, how you doing? Cool, Tim Drake's in the chat. That's sweet. Batman and Robin is hilarious. I will outright say I love Batman and Robin, but because I find it so stupid that it's funny, it kind of takes you back to the 60s Adam West TV show. No, the physics are ridiculous. The first 10 minutes of this movie is completely insane. Arnold is every other bit of dialogue is some frozen ice pun. There's too many plot threads going on in this thing. Everybody is over the top. Oh, what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. I love
Everybody chill.
Yes, I could quote this movie all day. Like Mr. Freeze is wearing his little like robe and his little polar bear slippers, and he's trying to get everybody. He's like, louder, louder, sing, sing, sing. This movie's hilarious. I actually did get to go see this movie in theaters. I think last year they were airing all 4 Batman movies in theaters. So I'm like, I got to see everyone. I think I was sick trying to go to see Batman Forever, so I couldn't see that in the theater, unfortunately. But taking my friend who had never seen this movie to the theater and just experiencing it on the big screen was one of my most enjoyable experiences. We were laughing, we were making fun of it. Like this is a so bad it's good movie. Which is why I put it like higher than on my. See, I'm doing my list based on enjoyment factor because I enjoy some good old fashioned like bad movies. And Batman and Robin is objectively a really bad movie, but it's very entertaining. But there are actually some cool aspects of it. The sets are very nice. The musical score is quite good. What else is it? There is a Batman scene in this movie, which I think is one of the best Batman scenes in any Batman movie. It comes towards the end of the movie. And when Mr. Freeze, because Alfred has some disease called McGregor syndrome, and Mr. Freeze is like, has a cure for it. What's that? Uma Thurman's entrance was pretty dope. She looked good in the outfit. Oh, yes. Uma Thurman is hot as hell in this movie. Like, I mean, like young me seeing this movie for the first time was like, oh my God, who is that? Damn. So where was I at? See, I'm losing track of thoughts. To quote Nicole Kidman, hot entrance. Yep. But yeah, like there is a great sequence in this movie where Batman actually like talks to Mr. Freeze and actually uses like kindness and compassion to defeat the villain. Like it's one of the few Batman movies. Like I think this is the only Batman movie who really doesn't kill anyone. Come to think of it, like he's not responsible for anyone's actual death in the movie. It's like the only one. Batman and Robin is the only one where Batman doesn't like somehow kill somebody in any of the movies. Batman vs Superman kills him. Justice League, he kills parademons. Batman the movie, I don't know if I'd have to rewatch it. There's one sequence where one man gets launched into the water and explodes. So I don't know if that was his fault or something. But yeah, where Batman actually like helps Mr. Freeze kind of at the end of the movie, showing because Batman. One thing that's been kind of missing in a lot of the Batman movies is the compassionate side of Batman. Because Batman, like, I mean, we all know he's the world's greatest detective. He can be dark and brooding, but there is a good compassionate side of Batman that a lot of the movies have lacked. And Batman and Robin actually like showcases that towards the end of the movie. Like there actually is a legitimately good acted scene from George Clooney. Clooney just needed a better script because I actually think he can be good as Batman. But yeah, there are issues with it, like the Robin suits and the Batman suits and all that with the nipples on them. Batgirl somehow doesn't have them for whatever reason. And, oh yeah, Batgirl, Barbara Wilson. Like no, it should be Barbara Gordon. We're going to need a bigger cave. Yes. Oh man. Like I said, I love the cheesy endings too. Yeah, Clooney actually seems like a real life Bruce Wayne. I totally buy George Clooney as like this billionaire, like playboy thing to it. But yeah, Batman and Robin, like the editing can be kind of bad at parts. It is like a bad movie, but I definitely love it for that reason. And I really, really do wish we got Batman Triumphant. I want to know what that movie would have been. Like I want to go in the alternate. I want to go to the parallel Earth where that movie exists. So,
yeah, I've heard about that batshit crazy.
Oh yeah, Batman does not kill. I've seen that video, Damian Thomas Nightwayne, the High Top video. High Top does a lot of good stuff. I know he gets a lot of flack for a lot of things, but I actually do enjoy his video essays. The OnStar commercials, I think I have. I've seen. Oh yeah, the toy. Like I said, this movie is one giant toy commercial. Like there's this thing called the Bat Hammer, and I used to have the toy. And it's a cool toy, but like Batman just pulls out like this giant. Like how is he even going to steer down these like narrow streets? This thing is huge. It covers like the entire street, and he's trying to like go down it. Robin gets his little car. They mentioned Superman in the movie, which is in the first movie. Minute is like Robin's like, I want a car. Chicks dig the car. This is why Superman works alone. I'm like, Batman just mentioned Superman. Are we going to get a World's Finest movie now? So yeah, like this movie, again, the studio rushed it, and you could tell by the end of it they were just like kind of exhausted. But it's fun. It's a dumb, fun movie. It's entertaining, and it's definitely like deserving of like all the bad reputation. But it's also brought us a ton of joy over the years. I mean, Mr. Freeze. How can you not love Arnold in this movie? Like he's so ridiculous, so many puns. He is having a blast in this movie. But yeah, and just some of the dumb lines. Rubber lips are immune to your charms. I could quote this movie all day. It's enjoyable. I love it. Like it's stupid. It's really, really stupid, but I do love it. So yeah, that's my number 8 pick. Joel Schumacher's Batman Rob. If you want to see me talk about it some more, there's an after the movie on it on the channel. So go ahead, take the floor with your number 7.
So after this one, my analysis will be a little longer because it has been a while. But I put Batman Forever. I mean, it has some redeemable qualities. I mean, Jim Carrey, 1990s. I mean, and Tommy Lee Jones. I mean, it's kind of fun.
Oh yeah, like it's a more safe movie, but I really enjoy Batman Forever.
I don't know how I feel about Val Kilmer though.
I think he has a good Batman voice.
Yeah, I've always been just kind of on the fence about like Val Kilmer. I was like, I definitely liked him better than George Clooney though.
Yep, it's the car, right? Chicks take the car.
Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, I just remember it being kind of like a wild, weird movie, but at the same time, I don't know. I think I had some fun watching it.
Okay.
Yeah. I promise I'll get more in depth as they go from here on out.
Okay, so what are we on? My number 7, right?
Yeah.
Just create the banner for me. So for my number 7, we're gonna go to the very first live action Batman movie. Now, before this, we had the movie serials, which were they're pretty bad. But we're gonna go to the first live action, actual like legitimately Batman movie. Or Batman. Oh wait, no. What am I doing? Batman. let me edit this really quick. Batman the movie. Okay, let me pull that up right there. So yes, we're going to be talking about the film right here, Batman the movie. This is based on the 1960s TV show. It stars Adam West, Burt Ward, one of the best 90s movies next to Space Jam. Oh yeah, Batman Forever has that. Yes, he does remind me of Kevin Conroy a little. Where am I at? So yeah, Batman the movie. This movie is fully campy. The 60s show I absolutely love. I know some people don't necessarily like campy Batman, but I really love it. I love Adam West, his line delivery, him and Burt Ward. This movie got Joker, Riddler, Catwoman, and Penguin all working together. Like when the villains are on screen, they tilt the camera because they're crooked. It's extremely cheesy, hokey, just the way they solve riddles. But it's just kind of like the way they play it, like straightforward. They're never really winking at the camera. You get so many over-the-top villains. Burgess Meredith as the Penguin's a lot of fun. Cesar Romero is the Joker. I think it was Lee Merriweather as Catwoman in this movie, different from...
She wasn't the good Catwoman, though. The one from the first 2 seasons of the show was better.
Right, and then you had Yzma from Emperor's New Groove as the third Catwoman. But the best villain of all is Frank Gorshin as the Riddler. He is great because you could pull off the wacky, crazy side, but you could kind of see the little moments where he has kind of that really dark... He could pull off the dark version of the Riddler kind of in an instant. But just seeing all these different over-the-top... every actor is trying to overact each other as the villains, and it just is a lot of fun. It's one of the examples of the movie where you see multiple villains kind of work in the film. That Catwoman suit was perfect. Yep. The running near the screen was pretty great. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Again, this was... Yes,
Jack. Julie Newmar was hot.
Yeah. As Actually, no, Jack, you're wrong. It was Lee Merriweather in the movie, Julie Newmar in the TV show. But yes, there's some great moments. There's one scene with an exploding man. A guy gets launched, like they kidnap Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne's fighting these people. One guy trips, falls onto this like booby trap, gets shot out a window, launched in the air, crashes into the water, and then just completely explodes. And it's really, really funny. And then you got this scene where Batman's trying to get rid of a bomb. Just everything about this movie. It's complete cheese, but Batman and the shark repellent. I mean, what's not to love with this thing? Also, when Batman finds out who she is by having Vietnam flashbacks. Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous, but by God, is it entertaining? Like I said, I love the '60s show. It's very campy. It's fun. Adam West and Burt Ward are so great together. All their holy puns, and it's just cheesy goodness. So, yeah, that's my number 7.
God damn it. My number 6 is Batman, the movie. You know what? It's actually interesting. So when I was like maybe like 6 or 7, I used to like it a lot. And then when I rewatch it, the movie and the show, I noticed that a lot of like the dialogue is kind of adultish. Like some of the things that they like talk about sometimes, like I laugh when fucking Robin is like, "Damn, Batgirl's kind of hot," and and then Batman's like, "You'll understand one day, Robin." It's like, it's that kind of stuff. And yeah, there's so many like goofy, memorable moments. Like, oh my god, it's fun. It really is. But like, I mean, the bat suit is ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's so entertaining. I think it's probably more entertaining than the cheesy '90s movies, as I said. But the casting is good for the villains, especially. I loved the villains in the show and the movie. Cesar Romero painting over his mustache is just.
Oh yeah, that's classic stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I there's a lot of reasons why I think he's a good Joker, but sometimes I think he's kind of just like one dimensional. But it's fine. I think all the villains working together was always a lot of fun. I just think it was just a really fun movie. But
yeah,
again, it's
yeah, Jack. I did see the equal pay PSA. Cameron Ingalls or Batman Field Earth and into the waving arms of the penguin's exploding octopus, and then he's got that Riddler laugh. Oh, great. Yes, I watched The Return to the Batcave, and one thing, Ryan, you should watch too. They made 2 animated movies called there's Batman vs. Two-Face and Return of the Cape Crusaders, which brings back Adam West and Burt Ward. But it's like done in the vein of the '60s show, and they're really genuinely very, very funny. They're animated. I'll have to talk about them again, but Return of the Cape Crusaders is great. You got to check it out. But yeah, so yeah. So was that your number 7?
those 6.
Those 6. Okay, so now on to my number 6, the film that brought Batman back from Batman and Robin territory. I'm going to talk about Batman Begins. Now, I know some people really love Batman Begins, and I love Batman Begins. Don't get me wrong. I like from this point onward, I love all these movies, cheesy or not. But Batman Begins was really the first time you could hear the term like kind of reboot thrown around. It's directed by Christopher Nolan. Stars Christian Bale as Batman. And it had to wipe the slate clean. We had to start fresh. We got into the origin of Batman. We got the villains Scarecrow. We got Ra's al Ghul. You have Michael Caine. You have Morgan Freeman. Now, when I first heard about this movie, I just kind of like assumed it was in the same series as the other films. I had no idea really what a reboot was because this is back in 2005, so this is a while ago. Because I was kind of just used to at this point just seeing different Batman like actors because you would go from Michael Keaton to Val Kilmer, to George Clooney, and then to this other guy. I'm like, okay, they got the modern thing. I was very excited to see this movie when it came out. Didn't see it till a few years later, but I genuinely really did enjoy Batman Begins. It's clever. The dialogue is really good. Just kind of the story in general is well orchestrated. The origin of Batman, just kind of everything about this movie for the most part works pretty well. Some things I don't like. Rachel Dawes, I think I liked her more. I don't know. Like Rachel's been kind of a character that's been kind of iffy for me in these movies. The action sequences, there's a cool sequence with the tumbler kind of going through and wrecking things, but Batman fight scenes in general aren't all that great. In the movie, the action, like for the Batman hand-to-hand combat, is like shot too close to where you can't really tell what's going on. It works for the first introduction to Batman, but then we actually get into the combat. It's kind of like the way it's photographed where you can't really see it. And I think Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul is kind of a lackluster villain. And I think Scarecrow was a bit underutilized at some point in the movie. But like I said, it's well orchestrated. Christian Bale is, in my opinion, the best live-action Bruce Wayne. Not the best Batman, mind you. Not the best at doing Batman. Like, his Batman voice is actually decent at first in Batman Begins. But then I think Nolan did some voice altering. But and it just kind of got worse to the type voice that he kind of uses later on. But it kind of works early on where he's like, I'm Batman. Like, I'm like, okay, that kind of works for it too. But yeah, like just pretty much this was something that we needed. I did a great job wiping the slate clean. The only movie to have a good Batman game based on it. I don't know. There's the Batman '89 for the second or the Nintendo Entertainment System is quite good, and I kind of like the Sega game now that I look back on it. But yeah, so Batman Begins. It's a great way to reboot the franchise. They needed to wipe the slate clean, and it paved the way for one of the greatest sequels of all time. So yep, Batman Begins is my number 6 pick, and I'll leave the floor to you.
So my number 5 is The Dark Knight Rises. And by the way, from here on out, I like all these movies like a lot. I felt like Dark Knight Rises. I like Bane a lot. Thought Bane was pretty cool.
Oh yes.
But I thought Batman was just not good in the movie. Like I thought it was just kind of boring to me. I think it was a slow movie. I really think the only thing that saved it was Bane. Really.
Great trailer though. That first trailer for this movie, one of my all-time favorites.
It's like again, it's tough to say because I do like Christian Bale, but I don't know. I just felt kind of like he's like broken Batman, and now he comes back and saves stuff. And I like the ending though. The ending is good. But just I don't know. I feel like it was a really boring movie in general. But I like Bane.
Yeah,
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. Yeah, Michael Caine kind of disappears a bit. I know a lot of people have a lot of issues with Dark Knight Rises. It's not my favorite of the trilogy. It's like my second favorite, which we'll get into in about a minute. Okay. So that was what your number 6. So number 5. Okay, so my number 5, I've been kind of going back and forth on this one between these other two movies. Like one I kind of enjoy maybe more as like a laughably fun movie, but the other I think is objectively like a better made movie and everything. So for my number 5, we're going to go to the 1990s. We're going to talk about Batman Forever. I rank Batman Forever more than Batman Begins. Again, this is more based on my enjoyment, not in terms of like, I guess what you say objectively is probably a better movie. I love Batman Forever. I mean, Jim Carrey is so over the top in this thing. Tommy Lee Jones is so over the top. Just kind of the music about it, just the hammy, cheesy lines. Like if you pulled somebody aside, like say you've never seen a comic book movie in your life and you've read comic books. If I were to describe like a comic book movie to you, you probably, to somebody who's never seen any in general, you probably think of something kind of like that would end up being similar to like Batman Forever. Again, it changed the tone. It's kind of like a sequel, but it's not almost. It's almost like it kind of references some bits from Batman Returns, but Gotham City is completely different. Everything's kind of brightly colored. It's definitely more Caped Crusader than Dark Knight, but it's got some cheesy one-liners. The music is good. One thing I'll say about these Batman movies, the music is usually quite good, like from Danny Elfman's music to Elliot Golgenthal's to Hans Zimmer. You're definitely like in good hands with Batman movies and the music. But yeah, Batman Forever. Like I said, Jim Carrey is hilarious. There's some actually like well acted and well shot scenes, like the death of Dick Grayson's parents, for instance. Like the way that's kind of shot, you see them kind of fall, and then you kind of cut to like Val Kilmer's reaction right there, and I think it's quite good. There's some things that are not so great, but also like things that as a young kid watching some of this stuff, like when Nicole Kidman comes in there, like her entire character is basically just she wants to fuck Batman. That's literally your entire character. And just kind of seeing her like do all her seductive stuff, like at a young age, it's a lot on a young kid to watch. But and then you got the music too. You have Seal Kiss from a Rose, which I watched the music video before we went live on this thing, and the music video is like clips from Batman Forever, and it has nothing in this. Oh yeah, Drew Barrymore is in the movie too. Can't forget about her. What else can we say about this? Chris O'Donnell makes his debut as Robin. Why Bruce Wayne would adopt like a 20-something-year-old kid is beyond me. It just yeah, and Robin looks like he could kick Batman's ass too. I'll kind of give it that. But Val Kilmer is Batman. Yeah, Batman does have a lot of love interest. He went from Vicky Vale to Selena Kyle to Dr. Chase Meridian to Julia Madison, who was like his first love interest in the comics. Batman gets around, but he like Val Kilmer kind of pulls off like the what I'd expect kind of a billionaire like playboy, more so than like Michael Keaton did, because Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne's a little mysterious. He's definitely unhinged, but he's still really good. Like he's we'll get to him as Batman soon.
You want to dance?
But you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. You got Batman 89. You haven't seen 89. I'm disappointed in you. But yeah, Batman Forever, again, it's a nice little pop culture 90s thing. It's very cheesy, but it's very entertaining. It's super dated, but there's actually some things that actually kind of hold up well. Like Riddler's plan, he wants to put a box in everybody's, like, he basically like foreshadowed the internet when he talked about his plan. He's just like, soon my little box will be on countless TVs around the world, feeding me with credit card numbers, bank codes, all these things, sexual fantasies, and little white lies. It's like, wow, that's basically just the internet, kind of what he does. But yeah, again, it's its own unique world. The sets are all fantastical. The bat suit, yeah, the bat nipples are kind of something, and it adds some cheese factor to it. But again, I fully love Batman Forever. Yes, like the internet, just kind of crazy. I love when Robin comes down the stairs and shakes hands with Batman. Oh yeah, that's right. Then we finally got Batman and Robin in a movie again. We got to acknowledge that too. You got the death traps and everything. Jim Carrey's constant outfit changes and just yeah, like I said, this movie is full Jim Carrey. Like this is crazy. This is Jim Carrey, as you said, Jack. Was that over the top? I can never tell. When he destroys the Batcave, I almost just want to watch this movie right now. I'm kind of in a Batman Forever mood. I've seen as a kid, this one was probably my favorite. Like I said, mostly for Jim Carrey and this just kind of the over the top nature to it. It's very kid, like some bits aren't very kid friendly, but other bits kind of are. And then you kind of get like some cool, like you get more Batman action than you did kind of in the other two movies. I mean, Batman literally like rides up the side of a building, which is kind of cool. It's over the top cheesy, but like I said, I love Batman Forever. I don't care what anybody says. I will defend this movie till the day I die. So yes, that's my number 5 pick. So what you get to your number 4?
My number 4, I have Justice League.
Okay.
You had to know what was coming. I don't know. I liked Batman in this. I know he was like different from BVS in a lot of ways, but I think they both worked. And I don't know. I thought that he worked. I think it was kind of refreshing, honestly, to not see like a dark, brooding Batman for once. And
case in point, Batman and Robin,
and like, yeah, but like, because when Batman is part of the Justice League, he's always like different than when he's alone. And so I felt like it worked pretty well. And the movie, I think Justice League was a fun movie. I think so, like sometimes like they struggle to make Batman like useful, but I don't think they were too bad in this one. I think like he was more of like the leader, I guess, in a way.
Right.
Like him and Wonder Woman. But yeah, I think he wasn't totally useless, and I think that Affleck did a good job. I think maybe some of the lines he said were a little dumb, but
it could have been the reshoots, a lot of it too.
That's true. But yeah, so like some tonal changes are a little bit like nitpicky, but I thought Justice League was a lot of fun. It reminded me of Unlimited, really, but with a way more potential, but it doesn't change what I feel about it.
Yeah, Batman, Danny Elfman was the only reason I saw it. Yeah, Danny Elfman, I'll say this about his Justice League score. He was rushed into doing it. Because like Junkie XL had already like confirmed that he finished his Justice League score. Danny Elfman was brought on like kind of last minute. And Danny Elfman, we'll get to him in a second because he has arguably one of the best scores of all time in Batman 89. His work in Justice League, the only good parts I kind of like was hearing his Batman theme again. But it just like Danny Elfman nowadays has kind of just like been lackluster. You don't really see the creativity, the epic themes that you used to see from him. But like with Justice League, the score is just kind of average. Whereas like I was kind of bummed that they got rid of Hans Zimmer personally. Like him and Junkie XL made a good team with BVS's music. And like I said, I love the 89 score. It's my favorite of all the Batman scores. But Danny Elfman just hasn't like had that classic Elfman score in so long. It's kind of like he lost his touch, if I'm being honest. I was looking forward to his score, but it kind of sucks that like it just the whole score was just kind of just a bit of a downer. But yes, so that was your number 4.
Yep.
My number 4, The Dark Knight Rises. So yes, for number 4, we're going to be talking about The Dark Knight Rises, the final film in Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. You can find a lot of faults in this one. Like, there's some plot holes for sure. There is a bit of the movie that definitely does drag. For me, like, it's when, like, up until, like, there's like a patch of the movie after the opening sequence all the way up to the stock market scene. I think that like stretch of like 30 minutes just kind of drags. It's like the worst part of the movie for me because it's just kind of drags. But when Batman makes his great comeback, then he goes in and he fights Bane. And like I said, Tom Hardy, like, it's a different Bane from the comics. And I know a lot of people don't like that aspect of it. But like, as a villain, I think Tom Hardy's Bane was great. Like, it was a nice like change of pace from the Joker, because like each villain like had its own like thing. Like, Scarecrow was about the mind. Bane was just like a physical threat. Joker was like a different type of threat. Like, each villain was like a different, unique threat of it. It's also been overshadowed by the Colorado thing. Yes, I think this movie, like, because I remember when that happened, and a lot of people were afraid to go to the theater for a while after that, because earlier in the year, Avengers had broken all these different records. I think this movie probably would have broken records at the box office because of the hype from The Dark Knight, because obviously Dark Knight kind of changed the game for movies in general. It was such a huge deal. And Dark Knight Rises doesn't quite live up to that. Like, it took me a while to kind of grasp that, like, it not being as good as Dark Knight, because I did see this movie 5 times in theaters. Because like I said, this is 2012, and I didn't know when we were going to get new Batman things, so it was like 4 years until we got a new Batman movie again. And every time it's like when I see a Godzilla movie or a Batman movie or something, like, I'm like, okay, this is a rare chance for me to see one. I don't know when the next one's going to be. It'll be a while, so I'll just have to wait and come back in it. But yeah, Dark Knight Rises, Bane is awesome. I think he's a terrific villain. I call him like Bane Vader. He has that like really strange, bizarre voice, but like he has an intimidating presence about him. Like the sequence where he breaks Batman's back, I'm like, yes, I wanted to see it happen. But then he just like constantly like overthrows the city, kind of. But like, my issues with it too is like kind of by the end of the movie, Bane just gets kind of like thrown aside for like a twist villain, with Talia al Ghul. And I think that could have been handled a little bit better. Same with kind of Catwoman in this movie. She's not as good as, say, Michelle Pfeiffer was in Batman Returns. I don't think anybody's quite as good as that. But yeah, I think she like definitely did like a good job. Or what am I saying? Yeah, but yeah. So like Dark Knight Rises again, it's not my favorite of the Nolan trilogy. I think it's better. I like it more than Batman Begins, mostly like you said, due to Bane. And just kind of some really great action sequences too. Like the stuff shot in IMAX, I think is terrific. Especially like that opening prologue scene. The final battle too is great because it's all like, it's just a large scale assault. And then when Batman fights Bane, it's really cool. And you have the Hans Zimmer music there with the Daishi Basara thing. Batman climbing out of the pit. Again, there's some really great iconic sequences in this movie. And I really enjoyed it. And it's kind of like what I also appreciate about this thing too is it's the only like film superhero franchise that to me has a complete beginning, middle, and end, like an intended end of it all. Like they were like, no, we're not doing any more after this. Whereas like some other film franchises, they just kept going on and on and on, and then they just kind of just happened to end. Like the Raimi trilogy, that just kind of happened to end. They wanted to do a Spider-Man 4, but they never got around to it. Like this is a definitive end to the story. And I appreciate that about it. I kind of miss some of the days of the pre-shared universe days of superhero movies, because with everything being in a shared universe, it's all about setting up the larger universe rather than focusing on the singular stories. And I feel like that's kind of lost a bit. That's one of the things I appreciate about when the Joker movie came out. So it just kept like things just keep like expanding, setting up other things, but we kind of lose like the singular movie. So, but yeah, like I said, I enjoyed Dark Knight Rises quite a bit. Again, it has its faults, but I still really dig the movie. So yes, that is my number 4. Kind of lost track for a second.
My number 3, I have Batman Begins.
Solid choice, sir.
I really like Batman Begins. I think, although I do think that the Arrowverse Ra's al Ghul is better, I do still like him in this movie. And aren't they technically called like the League of Shadows? Because aren't they like
they're the League of Shadows?
Yeah,
League of Assassins. Because they wanted to make it because they made it seem like Bruce Wayne wouldn't join a League of Assassins.
Yeah,
that's what they call the Shadows.
Yeah, but no, I thought that kind of stuff was cool. I thought like I just thought it was like a really different take on Batman, and I liked Rachel in this movie better than her recast.
Yeah, you know why she was recast? Because
Why?
uh Tom Cruise didn't want Katie Holmes to do the movie because that was his wife at the time, and she like missed out on probably the biggest movie she would ever be in.
What the hell? I didn't even
You
know
know
that.
Yeah, and I think it's because Tom Cruise didn't want her to outshine him. That's my personal theory, but like he didn't want her to do the movie. Yeah, so
Yeah, I thought the recast Rachel was terrible. Rachel. Anyway, yeah,
right.
no, I just thought it was like such a shock to like see Batman taken seriously, and I think some of the Scarecrow stuff is pretty cool.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
like some of the
some of
nightmare.
that.
I like the look of Gotham too in the movie,
Yeah,
more so than like the follow-up films. I feel like one of the issues I have with Nolan's Gotham is it's too grounded at times, and it just it doesn't feel comic book me enough. Gotham's like its own unique character in itself, and I feel like Begins did the best of that, like the slums and all that. But like once we got to like the follow-up films, it just felt like Chicago.
yeah, and I mean, I liked a lot of this. Like some of the Scarecrow stuff was like kind of like fright, especially when I was like really young and I watched it. It was kind of frightening, but I thought it was cool. Um, I just thought it was pretty creative. Um, Probably one of the more unique superhero movies that I've seen. That's just my opinion, though.
Right,
No, I think
right.
it's a good movie.
And like everybody just tried to mimic it kind of when it came out. Like Amazing Spider-Man tried to do the same thing with it.
Yeah,
It just kind of became a thing where it's like, oh, we're gonna mimic Batman Begins. And you know, Batman Begins was great, but like a lot of people kind of missed the point. Like this is Batman, so you shouldn't have to do this with kind of everyone else. So yeah. So let's go ahead and go. That's your number three. My number three, I'm gonna go with the incredibly messed up Batman Returns. Batman Returns is the second film in the live action Batman franchise from Warner Bros. Because you know the Batman the movie is a little, I think it was under Fox or something. But Batman Returns is one of the craziest, probably the most messed up Batman movie I've ever seen. I don't know how to describe this thing. Like you have Danny DeVito as the Penguin, you have Michelle Pfeiffer. Danny DeVito is amazing. Michelle Pfeiffer is absolutely incredible, and then you have a third villain with Christopher Walken as Max Schreck. Just all three of them, and you have Michael Keaton as Batman. People say Ben Affleck's Batman kills a lot of people. Fucking clowns get torched alive in this movie. Penguin's spitting out some weird gunk thing. There's a lot of crazy sexual innuendos. They had a whole Happy Meal toy thing planned for McDonald's, and when parents went to take their kids to see this movie, like, what the hell did I just watch? And I think that's what makes it great. It's like you think it's going to be one thing, and it just goes in this most bizarre, insane territory. And there's some genuinely like really funny moments too. Like there's a scene with Michael Keaton, like he's fighting Catwoman, and he's just like she's saying like something's like, somebody say fish, I haven't fit all day, and he knocks her to the ground. He's like, eat floor, high fiber. And just some of there's a nice dark sense of humor to it. Michelle Pfeiffer, like I said, the villains are great. Like I said, Danny DeVito's Penguin and Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. And the fact that they turned Batman into kind of like a criminal in a way, like they turned the whole city against him. It's got Tim Burton's like trademark unique visual style. Gotham City looks great. I still think 89 is the best visually. The score by Danny Elfman. Between this and 89, Danny Elfman has two of the best Batman scores of all time. I prefer the 89 one a bit more. This one's definitely more Burton-y than Batman 89 was. Like you can tell this is a Tim Burton movie, whereas Batman 89 doesn't, like, it's still Tim Burton's vision, but like it didn't feel super Burton-y, if you know what I'm saying. Like something along the lines of like an Edward Scissorhands, or that's what I consider like Tim Burton-y. Like Batman Returns is definitely a lot more Tim Burton-y.
I felt the take on the Penguin was especially like Tim Burton, like.
Yeah, like the Penguin this time around, because Tim Burton's always been more fascinating, kind of like the quote unquote like monsters or the freak type characters that they look for in movies. He always has been kind of that, in fact, that fascination with them. And Batman Returns, oh yeah, and it's a Christmas movie too, as Jack kind of brings it up. I watched over Christmas and actually cheered up by the end. Emotions and sympathy for Catwoman was great. It's a shame Michelle Pfeiffer didn't come back as Catwoman. I know they were going to try to make a Catwoman movie with her. Obviously, we got like one of the worst films of all time with Halle Berry's Catwoman. That basketball scene to this day still gives me nightmares. But God, I love this movie. I'm trying to think, like I said, the dark sense of humor. Christopher Walken. I mean, I love Christopher Walken. It's just some of the ridiculous stuff. You have his son too, who's like doing little impersonations of him. I like, again, just one of those things. I like the Batman and Catwoman stuff too. Like I like their little like relationship that they had in the movie. I think out of all Batman's love interests in the movies, Catwoman was done the best in this one because she was the most interesting. And I like too like some of the little moments too, like where they go to the costume ball, like they're the only ones not wearing masks because like their actual like Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle are their masks that they wear in public. Like just little stuff like that too. Again, Gotham City in the snow and Christmas. There's something about Gotham like set during winter and like Christmas time. It just like it gives it a whole new feel to it, and I really like that look of it. I love the snowy look of this movie. I don't know about you. Do you like Gotham more set around Christmas, or do you just kind of like? I think it kind of gives it like a nice little stylistically. It looks different.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
Yeah, I think it's fun. And again, this is a very demented, messed up movie. Like I said, Batman straps a bomb to a guy, drops him down a shaft. They play Rick James Super Freight. Yeah, they do. They play some crazy. Oh no, the Batman '89 is where the more crazy music happens. Like you get a lot of songs by Prince. I actually have the soundtrack for '89, like the actual like with music by Prince on there. Oh god, it's probably the worst CD I've ever heard. It's quite terrible, aside from like 2 songs, but. Yeah, Batman Returns. I love Batman Returns. I can't say enough great things about it. More people should watch it. It's messed up, but it's fucking great.
I have to get down to watching it in full.
Yeah, you need to watch. You gotta sit down and watch it. You can get them super cheap. All for it. Hey, Gavin, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat. So yeah, go ahead. And you're number 2.
My number 2 is BVS. I'm sorry. Listen, as a Batman movie, it kills it in every way. And I know you can't disagree with me on that. I think we disagree on everything else in the movie, but I think everything from like the Batcave and Alfred, Jeremy Irons. And
oh yeah, Jeremy Irons. He's a great Alfred. That's another thing too. I should mention. Alfred in the movies is great. Each movie.
Yeah, I just think that Zack Snyder was like so suited to do it. I mean, like his imagery and his cinematography and everything was just made for Batman. And I think that I think if you could cut every Superman thing out of this movie, have like 40 minutes of just actually, I think probably more of the movie's focused on Batman. But if you could get like the Batman cut, I think it would make for a great Batman movie if they would have.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I said, the Superman stuff and Jesse Eisenberg bring that movie down. Like I said, the Batman stuff is so great. That's where I'm kind of mixed on the movie. It's like I love the Batman stuff in the movie a lot. Like I think just the suit, just kind of the visual nature of it, just the badass nature. But again, like I said, it's the other part of the movie that kind of brings it down for me. And I think it just needed more focus. You could cut out all the Justice League teases, cut out all that stuff. Just kind of focus on just Batman and Superman. Keep Wonder Woman out of there. And as much as I like the Wonder Woman stuff, although her and Batman have really good on-screen chemistry too. It's like it just sparked. Like compare that to like Lois and Clark in the movie, where it's just like they're kind of just like they fell a little bit flat to me.
Lois is kind of useless in this universe anyway.
She was more useful in Man of Steel. Like Man of Steel, I felt like she had a reason to like. BVS is just like her whole thing was like figuring out that Lex Luthor was the bad guy, which everybody kind of already knew.
Watching Jimmy Olsen get killed.
Oh yeah, hey Jimmy O. Oh, Jimmy O dead.
God damn it. Yeah, but no, I mean, I think all around, I think it's I enjoy it. It's kind of a batshit crazy movie. I know it's not Snyder's fault, but
I kind of want to see it without like because like the studio is obviously trying to like okay, we got to set up this, with the movie.
I just think it's funny that what was supposed to be Man of Steel 2 ended up becoming really good Batman stuff.
Yeah, like I like the Batman stuff with it quite a bit. Some bits could have tweaked a little bit. The Martha scene, I know a lot of people have issues with it too. I think you should have filmed it differently. Another like going back to the DC animated universe stuff that I've been talking about. In the newest Justice League Dark Apocalypse War movie, they handle that bit a bit better because you know how Batman's trying to kill Superman in the movie, and then they say, Martha, save Martha, and all that, and then obviously like he kind of like flashes back to when he was younger. They did it in the animated movie, the Apocalypse War. They handled it better because when Batman's fighting, because he's under Darkseid's influence at this point, and he's beating the shit out of his son Damian, and he's about ready to kill him, and then like Damian's kind of looking up at him with kind of like tears in his eyes, and then like Batman kind of flashes back like like they kind of like mirror the images of like when he had the Wayne killer like with the gun to his head, like it was Batman holding a sword. Like he just looks at his son's eyes, and his son has like the same expression he did when he was a kid. It looks exactly, it perfectly mirrors it, and that's what inevitably breaks Darkseid's influence. I think if they would have done something a little bit where Batman envisioned himself, it was more clear, not necessarily a word, but just kind of done visually, where Batman looks at himself and he looks in a mirror or something and sees himself like now he's the villain. I understand.
Right. I always thought like maybe they could have had it been like he's now like the criminal that killed his parents, and it's like,
and I guess that's kind of what they were going for. Maybe again, it's not really. It could have been handled a little bit better rather than saying the Save Martha part. Again,
Martha won't die tonight.
Yeah, like I said, I know a lot of people have issues. That's one of the most talked about bits of the movie. I think like if you kind of filmed it in a way where Batman, you can kind of see him like he has become the killer of his parents, and that's kind of what snaps him out of it. That like again, maybe they were trying to orchestrate that, but it's not orchestrated clearly enough in the movie. But
yeah. But it led to the warehouse scene. Anyway,
warehouse scene, which is great.
Yeah. So yeah, I just think the Batman stuff is great in that movie. So you can move on.
Okay, for number 2. We're going to talk about The Dark Knight. It's The Dark Knight. I don't know what else I can really say about it. I mean, it's The Dark Knight. Like, everybody knows The Dark Knight. I mean, I remember this movie came out. I've never seen a movie leave this big of an impact, kind of, like, on the audience. I know some people, like, envision, like, Avengers Endgame in that, but no, Dark Knight, like, 20 movie buildups, this thing, like, there's a lot of hype and anticipation surrounded by this thing. We're still talking about The Dark Knight like crazy every day. You know what I mean? It's one of the most talked about movies of all time. It's one of the most beloved films of all time. Heath Ledger's Joker, what can I say about it? It's one of the greatest villain performances you're ever going to see in a movie. Obviously, you also have Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face. They make a really good. You have Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon. I didn't mention him when I talked about the other 2 films, but he's also really solid. The music by Hans Zimmer, like the action sequences are solid. Again, Gotham City, like I kind of like Gotham City to be a little bit more gothic, not so much like an actual city, like that I'd see. It's just Chicago to me in the movie. I kind of like Gotham to look more interesting visually. Like I think Burton nailed Gotham visually better than anybody. I think the closest after that, I mean, it needs to feel like its own fictional world to me. That's what I like about Gotham. But again, great action sequences, great villain performances, iconic moments, iconic lines, unforgettable scenes. I can't praise this movie enough. Again, you just say The Dark Knight, and just that name in general carries a lot of weight to it. And I think everybody kind of knows, oh, The Dark Knight. Yeah, that movie. So that's kind of really all I have to say about Dark Knight. I mean, I'm sure I could ramble on a bit more, but I think people kind of get the point because it's The Dark Knight. That's all I really need to say. You just know.
Yeah. Well, guess we'll extend the conversation. It's my number 1. And I mean, like, I don't like people that like to jump on the bandwagon about the movie. Like, I feel like you have to have an actual reason to like it. And I think the one thing that I picked from it that I really liked is just the dynamic between Batman and Joker, where it's like Joker is like, oh, I'm like the antagonist of the story. And even though he's proven wrong in the end, I feel like realistically he was kind of proven, I feel like in real life he's kind of right about everything he said, basically. But it's like, it's such an interesting dynamic between him because he really fucking breaks Batman, like mentally. I mean, and like I've seen a lot of good like hero villain dynamics, like Flash and Reverse Flash. I think are really good because it's like they kind of need each other in that way. But I just think like you could see like the mental breakdown of Batman in this movie. And like you could just tell the Joker was enjoying every minute of it. And I guess like I know it's such a typical scene to pick from, but the interrogation scene is like the best scene to show you that. And I just think it's fantastic, except fucking Rachel. But whatever.
Yeah, and some of the Batman voice too. And again, Aaron Eckhart, great Harvey Dent Two-Face, handled so much better than Batman Forever. Even though I love the over the topness of Batman Forever, and also some of the other Joker sequences, like the "You Want to Know How I Got These Scars" thing, and how he changes the story each time he talks to someone. I think that really adds to it because the first time you hear it, it's just like it's like a very intense thing. Like, oh, so that's his motivation. But then he tells the story to somebody else, and it's completely different. And I love that.
Yeah, he was insane. Come on, hit me.
Hit me. Again.
Rachel.
Rachel.
That's the one thing that I'm like, that's kind of goofy.
Yeah, and remember, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a hero.
Batman.
Yeah. Again, Dark Knight, great fucking movie. Oh yeah, Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts is great in it too. Like everybody is top notch except for Rachel. And even then, maybe Maggie Gyllenhaal is a little better of an actress than Katie Holmes, but I still like Rachel as a character. To me, has been like, why do we care about Rachel? I don't like her death meant nothing to me in the movie.
I will say, I never really thought Christian Bale was a good Bruce Wayne. By the way, as much as I love these movies, I don't really think I liked him that much as Bruce Wayne.
No, I loved his Bruce Wayne. It's his Batman where I had the more issues with.
Really? Okay.
So, yeah. All right. Moving on to my number one, and like arguably like my favorite movie of all time. Like it's right up there. Like between, I switch it between 1 and 2 quite a bit. Batman 1989. This is what made me a Batman fan in the first place. As soon as I'm like, as soon as if you pop this movie in, as soon as like you hear the start of that Danny Elfman music, the logos pop up, and I'm glued to the screen. Like everything about this movie, like just this feels like the Batman world come to life, like nothing else ever before it. Like no other movie I feel like has really captured the world of Batman. I think, like this movie. And it's amazing. Like this doesn't necessarily feel so much like a Tim Burton movie too. Like it has some of his sense of humor about it, but like it's got the humor there. Like Jack Nicholson's Joker is fantastic. He really is chewing up so much scenery and having the time of his life. Michael Keaton is a fantastic Batman. His Bruce Wayne stuff is great too, because it's like you can tell like there's a lot going on in the guy's head, but he kind of keeps that buried inside. Like he would buy this guy going out and doing this in the middle of the night. There's something mysterious about him. Again, visually, the bat suit, everything, the whole world and everything looks great. Gotham City has never looked better in my eyes. Like this is Gotham come to life. This is the world of Batman come to life. And that's like really for the first time. It changed the game of cinema. Like this is like the movie that kind of changed the game before was a bit of like Christopher Reeve Superman. But before this movie came out, Batman was mostly seen as kind of a joke, like the 60s campy show. Don't get me wrong. I love like 60s Batman, but this movie changed the game. It changed cinema in general. Like this was the movie of 1989. Again, the iconic shots. There's some cool action bits there. There's some cheesy, hokey stuff like with the Joker. Like there's some really funny shit too. Like there's some really good dark sense of humor with the Joker. Like the part where he gasses, where he has the TV commercial. Like he has a little Joker grin, using like his Joker chemicals on people, like on the news broadcasting stuff, and then he takes over the TV, and like all these people are dying horrifically, and Joker's just laughing, kind of having a good time with it. Then he goes to like the art museum, and he wrecks the shit, and he's jamming out to Prince music, and it's so demented, but he's wrecking all the paintings, he's laughing, he's having a good time. Jack Nicholson is so fantastic as the Joker. It's again very different from Heath Ledger's, and like again, if I want more of a fun Joker, I'll go more towards like Nicholson in this movie. And like, you know, like just the dynamic between him and like Batman, like these two passionately hate each other. Like, you know, Joker in this movie, I know some people don't like it, but like Joker was the murderer of Bruce Wayne's parents in this movie. So like he created Batman and Batman created the Joker. Again, I think that was something somebody else said. I don't know if it was Tim Burton who wanted to add that aspect to it, but it's definitely a nice personal connection between the two of them, kind of like creating each other. The ending stuff, Batman is killing people in this movie too. But yes, like there's one part where he drops a guy down like to the top of a cathedral, which is pretty crazy. The final showdown between him and Joker. Some of the little funny stuff, just kind of the supporting characters too. Like Vicky Vale, I think Vicky Vale is actually an interesting character, unlike Rachel. I mean, she screams a lot, but she is like she's
oh yeah,
she's quick on her feet. She's thinking. Kim Basinger is a good actress. Michael Keaton's she works great alongside Michael Keaton. I still think Selena Kyle was the best love interest in all the Batman movies in Batman Returns, but I think Vicky Vale probably comes in at second for me personally. Like I said, I really liked her character. You have little supporting characters like Alexander Knox. Michael Goff as Alfred is like when I think Alfred Pennyworth, like it's really tough to choose like a favorite Alfred because I feel like all the live action Alfreds have done a good job. Like there's no bad Alfred. I like the 60s Alfred. I think Michael Goff really nails like that father figure to Bruce, like that also kind of the classy, you know, classic like Butler type feel to him too. You get the sense that like he really doesn't want Bruce to do this, so he's trying to do whatever he can to get him to stop. Michael Caine was very supportive, obviously, and Jeremy Irons had that quick wit to him as Alfred that I really liked. Again, I really liked like everything about this movie. I think maybe one aspect of it that always kind of bugged me is like there's this character named Alexander Knox who's in the movie, and he's one of the only people who's like, "Hey, everyone, Batman exists. Batman exists." Nobody buys him, and then as soon as you know Batman's proven to be real, nobody kind of acknowledges like this Knox guy. The ending's pretty great. Joker's raining down millions of dollars, even though he's murdered the entire city, but people don't care. They see money, and he's jamming out to Prince the whole time. He is having the time of his life, and you have like his henchman Bob the Goon, who is fucking great. Oh yes, Jack, I do want a Diet Coke too because Diet Coke's a big like. I have the VHS, and like before the movie starts, there's this commercial with Alfred and Batman. And Batman literally is driving to the store to get his Diet Coke, and it's like just for the taste of it, Diet Coke. Like Alfred literally has to call the store. He's like, we're down to our last Diet Coke. Gentleman's in a hurry. He needs to pick some up. And it's literally Batman in the Batmobile driving up to go pick up some fucking Diet Coke. It's great. And every time like the VHS would start, it's like you got to get your Warner Brothers ball cap ready to go, and your popcorn, soft drink, all that other stuff. I have so much nostalgia for this movie. I've seen this movie more than any movie in history. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I've seen this movie so many times. I've lost track. Well, I didn't know there would be spoilers. The movie is like 30 years old. So it's 31 years old now. Sorry for spoilers. Again, this is just rankings of the movies. I figured everybody would have seen Batman 89 by this point. But it's an unforgettable movie. It changed the game. The music by Danny Elfman, his Batman theme in general, adds so much to the movie. Again, I feel like music is a very important part of movies. Like sometimes the right music can really change something. It's like when Steven Spielberg does a movie, like John Williams' music really adds to the score in like Jaws or Jurassic Park or E.T. or Close Encounters. Danny Elfman's music really adds to this thing. And again, it has a great sense of like humor. Oh yeah, Jack, as you mentioned, Bob the Goon. There's some really fun. Joker has this loyal henchman to him. Yes, there it is. There's the commercial right there. Oh, I love that commercial so much. Like it's classic. It's classic. I'm 12 and I haven't seen every movie ever. Jeez. Oh, sorry, Epic Wolverine. Again, these movies are 30 plus years old, and I feel like everyone's for the most part seen them. So I've been watching these since I was super little. So yeah, check that out. I guess the music is the reason that makes it interesting. With the music, it will be playing again. Yes, the music really adds to it. Danny Elfman's score is incredible. It's absolutely outstanding. One of the best scores I've ever heard. So I'm trying to think what else I can mention. Like the funny bits, Joker just being an asshole. Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne I really liked. I don't know. I can't say enough nice things about it. Like I feel like it's the world of Batman come to life like never before. So yeah, I love Batman 89. It's arguably my favorite film of all time. You put it on late at night, I'll watch the whole thing from start to finish just like that. So yeah. That's my number one. So yeah. All right, I'm trying to think what anything else. But yeah, so those are our thoughts on all that. Yes, Party Man Jack is classic. Same with Trust. The Bat Dance, not so much. That was terrifying. But yeah, I think that's all the movies. Oh, we went on for like an hour. So oh, I got a live one here. See, Jack. I can tell you're having a really good time in the comment section. So I appreciate that. Commenting on like every Batman movie, all the different quotes and that. But yeah, like I said, I love Batman. I can enjoy like every Batman movie to an extent. Even like some of the weaker ones, I still find some entertainment value in them. Again, like my favorite is always going to be Batman 89. As much as I love The Dark Knight, there's something about Batman 89 that I really love. Mask of the Phantasm, that's a great one too. Again, but we're just talking about the live action stuff right now. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on the Batman movies. Ryan, you have anything else you want to add?
No, but I will definitely have to get to see 89 in our return.
Yeah, you definitely got to. I mean, you could probably get like I said, I had like the first movie series like I collected when I was younger. I was trying to collect movies. Like the Batman set, like it was such a big deal for me when I owned like a movie series. Like you get like the 4-pack DVD for like $4. You can own them all super. Like the quality is not the best, but it's still good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we got in the comment section? What do you guys think about the new Batman movie that comes out in 2021? I'm looking forward to it. I loved what Matt Reeves did with the last 2 Planet of the Apes movies, especially War for the Planet of the Apes.
I'm excited too, but I don't like the suit. I like the direction that the color scheme of the Batfleck suit. I wish they kept like the gray.
No, it is the Pattinson suit is kind of gray a bit too. It's we'll have to
He
see
looks
it, like in
armored.
action.
It kind of looks like Bale's a little bit. From what
Yeah,
I
it's definitely that armored kind of look to it. Like I said, I like the Affleck suit more as well. But we'll see. Good live stream. Thank you, Andre. That was really cool. Yes, I enjoyed it. It's on VHS. Last time I saw 89 was on Laserdisc. I own a Laserdisc of 89. It's the only Laserdisc I own, but I don't have a Laserdisc player, unfortunately. So
well, Jack, there are no freaking thrift stores or like flea markets open where I can get that right now.
right, especially with this whole virus thing going on. So
That is something I like to do at flea markets is get like old games and movies. So
yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else we can add or comment on. It's very steampunk with Pattinson. Yeah, it's definitely a very steampunk vibe to it. And I still love your TikTok that you posted on it, Jack. That still to me is just the funniest shit. Crash. Would you do a Q&A? Yeah, I guess you could do a Q&A. If anybody has any questions in the chat, just let us know while we're on here. We'll talk for a minute. I'm looking forward to the Batman. I'm a big Batman fan, obviously. I really want a Bat family movie. Like, why is it that the closest we got was Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin? Why is it we don't have Batman and Robin like in these movies together? Why don't we have Nightwing with Batman and Red Hood and Red Robin and Damian's Robin, Stephanie Brown's spoiler, Cassandra Cain? Why can't we have all of them together and done right? Bob the Goon was what inspired Bob and my Kong. Your Kong film, Jack? Bob the Goon's great. Bob the Goon, it's great. Yes, we need it. Yes, I want a Bat family movie. That's what I want. What do you want to see in a Batman movie? Like, more than anything, like what is something you feel like is missing from the Batman movies that we really haven't gotten?
I think we need like an actual good Robin.
Yeah, because what do we have? We have Chris O'Donnell. I kind of, Chris O'Donnell's cool and all, but like it just doesn't feel like Robin per se. Like he was kind of like even then, like he was wearing like the Nightwing suit basically.
True.
Yeah, so we do need a Robin. We do need a good Batgirl. Again, DCU had a chance to do this. If they would have I would have had Tim Drake be Bruce's Robin in BVS. I would have done that. That would have been the first thing I do. If you're doing an older Batman, have Tim Drake be the Robin, because then that means that Nightwing's already established out there in Bloodhaven. You could have Batgirl out there too at some point. And then that means since Bruce Wayne's older, he would have already had his thing with Talia al Ghul, and then you could have brought in Damian, and then you could have had the replacement for Affleck with Nightwing, and then you could continue the DCEU. Problem solved. Look, I solved Warner Brothers issue within 5 minutes, but yeah, at least that's my thing too. So yeah, I guess we'll take another question or anything else to say. But what's your overall take on the Batman movies in general, Ryan?
I think they're pretty. It's kind of interesting because actually, similar to the Godzilla series, they're kind of all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and I have seen a couple of the animated ones. I saw Dark Knight Returns, and I saw did I see Red Hood? I think I did. Both of which I liked, and yeah, I think there's a lot of cool stuff that they haven't done yet with Batman in like live action.
Yeah, exactly. I know Titans has Nightwing and Robin on there, but the less we say about Titans, the better. I mean, they have the Nightwing suit is so good on that show. Like the costumes are top notch, but it's just the writing and just the way it's kind of handled.
Yep.
It's kind of unfortunate. Love to see you talk about Tim Drake. I like Tim Drake quite a bit. Like I'm kind of more of a. I think if I rank the four main Robins, again, I know Stephanie Brown was Robin for a very short period, but like my favorite Robin would be Damian. My second favorite would be Dick Grayson, because then he becomes Nightwing. Between 3 and 4, it's a little bit tough. Like I said, I like Tim Drake as Robin more than I like Jason Todd as Robin, but I think I'm more of a fan of Red Hood than I am of Jason Todd, or than I am a fan of like Tim Drake. So it's kind of tricky with that, like because as Robin, I think Tim Drake's really solid in the mantle, but I think personally my favorite. Well, I mean, I have my personal favorite, but like between him and Jason Todd, it's tough for me to choose between those two as like my 3 and 4. They're all kind of like the Ninja Turtles too. It's like choosing your favorite turtle. It's tough. Tough. But yeah, I guess we'll wait one more minute, see if there's anything else to say or anything else. You have anything else you want to add to it, or
No.
no, nothing else? John Blake as Robin. Oh, come on. that part I'm just like, because I remember Christian Bale saying, when Robin comes in, I'm out of these movies, and I guess he was. So yeah, is there anything you want to plug so everybody can check you out on your channel?
Check out our stream from earlier on my channel.
Yeah, that's right. I was on his stream earlier. We had like 30 people on that one or something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So I think if I do a DC AMU one, I'll get a lot of people on it. But would you rank all the Teen Titans movies? Let's see what Teen Titans movies we had. Teen Titans Go to the Movies. We had Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo. We had Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go. We had Justice League versus Teen Titans. We had Teen Titans The Judas Contract. I think, what is there, 5? Do more of these? Yes, I'd like to do more of these live streams. Again, this was something I kind of wanted to do. I'm a big Batman fan. I got to rank some of the other animated stuff, but I definitely want to do the live action stuff at some point. And I wanted to bring on some people to talk about it that I haven't had on in a while. I know I wanted to bring in Ryan to talk about some DC stuff, and you're going to have to jump on too at some point, Jack.
Nick. I have to get Nick.
Yes, I'll have to get Nick at some point when the summer hits. But yeah, Trouble in Tokyo. Trouble in Tokyo, I think, is all right. I love Teen Titans, the cartoon. I wasn't really a huge fan of Trouble in Tokyo personally. But again, like it was kind of like it came out right after season 5 was done. But it just didn't really, I don't know, just didn't feel like a good ending because season 5 has this cliffhanger that's still never been resolved. I mean, obviously they came back in Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go or whatever it was. But still, it's like this big cliffhanger ending. We still need a season 6. Unfortunate. You got to install the stream service thing y'all use. Oh yeah, you got to. It's just StreamYard. You just kind of link it up to your account. That's it. Tara's my personal favorite. Yeah, I think Tara on the show was done pretty well sympathetically. My favorite character on Teen Titans was Raven, and then Robin were my 2 favorites. They always were. So, and yeah, that's all I got to say. Thank you all so much. If there's no other questions, I guess we'll go ahead and end this broadcast. But thank you, everybody who's been jumping on the stream. I really appreciate everybody watching. Thank you, Ryan, for joining me. If anybody wants to check out his channel, it's at Kaiju Network. You can go ahead and leave a comment down below, I guess, if people want to find you. Yeah. Or I'll leave a link in the description or in below or something like that. But if anyone wants to go back and watch this thing, go ahead. What are your thoughts on the Batman movies? I want to know what you all rank in the comment section down below. I got more videos coming along the way. Do you have anything planned coming up, Ryan, that you're going
to... like I said, my Godzilla Kong-a-thon until Godzilla vs. Kong, unless it gets canceled, I'm going to have to change my plans. Or, I mean, if it gets delayed, I'll have to change my plans. But as of right now, every Friday, I'm going to be doing some reviews. So,
okay, that's good. And me, I got tomorrow I'm going to try and film my Son of Batman review. I got to finish writing it. Like every time I get like close to writing it, I get like writer's block. I'm like, no, you will finish writing this and you will fit and you're going to like it. That's what I'm trying to do with myself. But I got a lot of other discussion videos to do. I'm going to record a shit ton of videos tomorrow and start posting them sporadically throughout the week. That's the goal of it. Yeah. What other questions? Andre Rance, you know a lot about Kyle Rayner. Actually, I hardly know much about Kyle Rayner. I just know he's in the Green Lantern Corps. But yep, that's all I got to say. Thank you again to everybody who's been watching this. Jack, I guess I'll see what you're going to send to me in a second. But thank you all so much for watching. Ryan, thank you for joining me. And as always, I don't really have a closing line other than take care now. Bye-bye then. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace out, y'all. Thanks for joining. End the broadcast.